Yes, thank you. Thank you. In this glorious movement of Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON's achieved a lot. And if you look at the last 50 years, there have been many, many achievements that ISKCON has had in terms of the number of centers that we have. These are some statistics from the ISKCON 50/50 celebrations. We have between 650 to 900 centers around the world. We have almost 12 million plus people who come and worship at our temples. In addition, the BBT has distributed more than 500 million magazines, books, periodicals. There are 150,000 plus devotees who have taken initiation in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, particularly within ISKCON itself, 150,000 plus devotees who've taken initiations. And every year, ISKCON with its activities conducts more than close to 6,000 festivals around the world. All devotees of ISKCON are always praying and hoping that this movement will continue to grow. And over the next 10,000 years, there's a prophecy that the Hare Krishna movement will grow all around the world. In fact, all of us are striving very hard to fulfill this one prophecy, that the holy name of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare will be chanted in every town and village. All of us hope that in the coming years, the coming 9,500 odd years, our institution and ISKCON will continue to grow up and more. Hare Krishna. What does it mean? It means that we'll have more centers, more devotees, more festivals, more books being distributed, but most importantly, more and more people chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. More devotees or people getting an opportunity to develop Krishna Prema, to develop this eternal relationship with God. And that happens to be the main objective of this movement. Now, although we all want that this movement should just multiply more and more, ISKCON should multiply more and more, there is also another possibility. And that is that our movement, our participation, our members, festivals may not grow. Or possibly they may reduce. So I like to ask you your opinion. So you can share with me your opinion. What do you perceive? Do you think ISKCON over the next 9,500 years, is it going to grow? Or is it going to slow down and dwindle? And you have to share with me at least one reason why you have that opinion. Yes. Prabhu, your name?
Mukunda Maladas from Mumbai. Yeah. So there could be phases of ups and downs within the movement due to factions created within the movement, groupism. But overall the graph is going to be high, linearly high. Prediction, Lord Chaitanya's prediction.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else has some other thoughts? Yes.
Hare Krishna. I think it will grow. My name is Shucharu Madhusudan Das. I am from Bangladesh. My idea ISKCON must be grow, and of reason because we have strong structure and also Lord Chaitanya prediction is there, but we have strong committees, GBC like. So they are doing how they are all time working about this, how we can grow.
Thank you so much for your conviction and confidence. Any other comments or thoughts? Yes, Prabhu.
This is Arjun Anandas from Delhi, Rohini Temple. So, my thinking is like my opinion is it will grow provided the weaknesses which are actually there that has to be like, filled up, and like they have to be corrected. The systems need to be more strong in ISKCON. I believe there is a gap between the ISKCON, GBC, and the like local local temples and all everything. I believe that there's a gap between the two. I think so, in my opinion.
Okay. So, yes, Prabhu.
Uh, the growth is certain, it will definitely grow, but if you observe the rate of growth will be proportional to how we are organized within, and also and you'll find in 10,000 years first 50,000 we grow this much, then there is maybe some disturbances, or not that rate of growth we could not maintain. Then again you'll find in between some stiff. So we don't see a linear progress, but we will definitely conclude that wherever we progressed steadily, we are organized within.
Much like Mukunda Mala Prabhu, they stated that there'll be some hiccups, some ups and downs, but we'll generally be growing up because of Shila, of the prediction of the Lord. So yes, both possibilities exist. In fact, our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, himself asked this question. And when he asked this question, the history is that at the time when Srila Prabhupada was performing his last pastimes on this planet in terms of his physical body, he was physically quite weak, and he was mostly taking rest and still translating. At that time, one night, he called Giriraj Maharaj and he asked him this question. Will this movement go on? Would somebody kindly read this, Arjun Prabhu?
Srila Prabhupada instruction to Giriraj Swami. Srila Prabhupada lay in an internal state of consciousness. I waited in the silence. Finally, Prabhupada asked me, "Do you think this movement will go on without me?" I replied, "As long as we are sincere and chant Hare Krishna and follow the regulative principles, the movement will go on." Srila Prabhupada listened. Then again, with great difficulty and ever so softly, Srila Prabhupada responded. He uttered the words, organization, organization, and intelligence.
Thank you. So, Srila Prabhupada himself highlighted that besides performing our own internal sadhana, our own practice, for ISKCON to grow and for the movement to go on, there's a need for organization, and intelligence. So, organization not just for the sake of organization, but designed in such a way that it can overcome what you said as the weaknesses, so that the weaknesses can be overcome. Or if we do have hiccups, let those hiccups be very short-lived. That was what Prabhupada proposed, organization and intelligence. Now, often within the community of devotees, if you raise this point of organization, it is sometimes met with this response: is this really necessary? Why do we need to have organization? Can we just not be spiritual, chant the holy name, perform some kirtan, do our activities, and that should suffice? So in order to belabor that point, I have some examples from you. These examples comes from different levels of organization in our own lives. First starts with the very basic level, which I have not even listed, which is individually, all of us are organized. We know what time we get up, we know we have to go for Mangal Arti, we know when we chant, we know when we perform our service, so on and so forth. Imagine if you were not doing so. Do you think that our progress in Krishna consciousness individually will happen? If you were not having a schedule, no sadhana schedule, not grow. You may go through hiccups, one step forward, two steps backwards, and so on and so forth. But personal growth will not happen. So one has to be organized. Similarly, if you are in a household unit, in Grihastha Ashrama, then you also notice even within those small number of 3 or 4 people, there is distribution of duties. Somebody cooks, somebody irons, somebody goes earns money, brings vegetables. And if 1 or 2 members of that unit out of 4 stop performing their duties or don't perform in time, how would the scenario be? Yeah, very bad. Let me share a joke with you, an example. So the example goes back a long time. There was a man who's married and he worked very hard during the daytime. So after working hard during the daytime, he came back home and he rang the bell and he opened the door and his wife was present in front of him. The wife was very beautifully dressed, very nicely dressed, and she said to her husband, "I love you." The husband was very happy, wow, this is very nice. Then the husband went and took a bath. Evening time, he's tired, took a bath, got fresh, came towards the dining room. And right at the entrance of the dining room, the wife again says, "I love you so much." And the husband says, "Yeah, I also love you so much." Then he sat on the table and he saw that there was nothing on the table. Only his wife sitting on the other side of the table and saying, "I love you." Relationships of love are necessarily based upon serving. So a household unit, if we have loving relationships and people are not performing their roles, it becomes love disappears very soon. So organization is needed in order to also maintain good relationships amongst ourselves. Often people who have worked in the past or are also part of an organization structure in the temple, they can relate to what I'm showing. They feel that yes, not only in an individual level, personal level, not only in my house, but when I go out and work or I serve somewhere, there also we see a lot of organization. This chart is the chart for the Justice Department. And the Justice Department, by the way, is not for the whole country. It is just for one state, and within that a small, not a small, but a county, or let's like a district. Now for just that district's Justice Department, look at the number of position and functions that they have. Just look at this. How many few million people are staying in this county called Cook County. But such a huge organization just to manage justice. Right? So there is organization at workplace. Now, people say, devotees also say that, all right, Prabhu, there is need at individual level, home and workplace. But when we come to higher topics, spiritual topics, it is not necessary. And then I request that why don't we look at the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. What does the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam talk about? It talks about how creation happens, how the whole material universe comes into existence. And in this structure, we can see that how different personalities are assigned different roles and responsibilities. There is a clear organization, clear hierarchy, right? And I was sharing the other day when I had a seminar here on the same topic. I was saying that if just one of them decides to go and take rest for 5 minutes, then all of us could be dead. Can you guess who that personality will be? Vayu or Sun, right? But more particularly Vayudev. For just 5 minutes, if he goes and takes rest, we'll be resting in peace, RIP, for good. Just 5 minutes and not longer than that. So there is organization. Now, so what about ISKCON? What are your thoughts about ISKCON? We do need an organization. You are such a nice person to support this notion, but still we find devotees are saying, why do we need organization? What is the need? Not necessary, right? But it's not necessary, especially in the spiritual sphere, they say, or when you're running a movement. So I wanted to share some statistics with you of a movement. This movement is known as Seventh-day Adventists. Don't join them. Don't join them. They are not going to be very helpful for the purpose of Krishna consciousness. For Krishna consciousness, the best movement to be part of is Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. Right? So I'm sharing statistics in the notion of opening up perspectives, not to glorify or to tell you that, oh, this is great. Now this movement started 150 years back, in 1868. And today, or about 2-3 years back when I collected these statistics, they had 20,000 ministers around the world. They're present in 215 countries. They publish their magazines in hundreds of languages and dialects included. Right? And in their headquarters, I'm told, near Washington, D.C., there are more than 800 to 900 people, staff working in their headquarters every day to serve the purposes of this institution. If you look at their growth graph, from 1868 to 1918, they were around the 150,000 members level. Do you remember what I shared with you at the beginning? When we were counting our own blessings, that ISKCON after 50 years is 150,000 plus initiated devotees. They were at that level in first 50 years. But look at the growth they're on. Exponential. Yes. In fact, when I was trying to do some research, I found out just between at the year 2005, they were 5 million. Can you guess what was the number in 2015? Prabhu, any guess? Just guess. Okay, 50, 100. They were 15 million. Within 10 years, they added 10 million members. From 5 million to 15 million is basically 200% net growth. And today when I was looking before coming for this ILS seminar, I was looking, okay, what is the number now? And I found from 2015 to 2020, they're 25 million. Look at the growth, right? Very fast. Now, I don't know how they define their membership. Is it people just coming, attending, leaving? I don't know. And like I said, I'm not here to glorify their movement, but I'm trying to convey a point. Seventh-day Adventists, SDAs. And the point I'm trying to deliver is that in the previous slide I showed you what is the organization they have created. Huge. Just in their headquarters, 900 people working in one building. And look at the growth that they're achieving. So there is some correlation. They have possibly organized themselves intelligently. It doesn't matter what their objectives are. People do so many things in this material world, They can have different objectives. But simply by organizing themselves intelligently, look at this, what they've done. Fast growth. So we must continue to focus on our internal purification, on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in following the 4 regulative principles, following all Vaishnava etiquettes. And with that, if we create an organization, intelligent organization as Srila Prabhupada wanted us to, then we also have a chance for growth. Today, we are about 91 initiating spiritual masters. There are about 150,000 initiating devotees within this movement and close to about 37 GBCs. Actually, the good news is one more wonderful devotee became a GBC member this year. So now we have 38 GBCs. Right? So this is our status today. I want to ask you, what do you vision? What do you see ISKCON in 50 years from now, or 100 years from now, or 200 years from now? Please share something inspiring with me. 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, how do you see ISKCON? Where would you want to see ISKCON?
I like to see ISKCON as the number one spiritual society in the world.
Arjun Krishna Prabhu. Arjun Anand Prabhu would like to see ISKCON as the number one spiritual society in the world. Tell me about how many spiritual masters, how many devotees would you like to see?
My name is Balram Anand Das. Balram Anand Das from Chowpatty, ISKCON Chowpatty, Mumbai. So I want to say that in every town there should be minimum one GBC, and all other organizations, total body will be active in that. And regarding, you asked one question.
I said, what is the scale of the organization? How many devotees? How many gurus?
It will be in, I hope it should be in 4-5 crore.
4-5 crores. So that's lovely. That's lovely. That's 40-50 million. 40-50 million. Yes. Yes, definitely. We all are working towards that. We are, yes, Prabhu.
How long period of time? 100? Okay, 100 years, maybe. After 100 years, we will have maybe 20 spiritual cities like Mayapur, and in different continents, not in India. We have maybe 10,000 of spiritual masters, and the GBC is smaller, maybe half of 500 maybe, and Vaishnavas number is I don't know, 10 millions maybe 15.
Thank you for sharing. So you all agree we really want many devotees initiated. We want many spiritual masters. So the estimates are that we'll soon have at least 10,000 gurus in this movement. And very simple. If each of these gurus, currently 100 gurus, even if they leave behind 10 to 15 disciples who become gurus, and then that's easily about 1,500, in just next 10-20 years. And if they all leave behind in turn another 10-15 disciples who will become gurus, that crosses the number 10,000. So even within 50 to 60 years, if we are able to sustain, just imagine this, just one spiritual master creating at least 10 or 15 qualified disciples who can become gurus. Right? And some of our spiritual masters have thousands of disciples, so it's very much possible. So we can easily get there. And if you have 10,000 gurus, 10 million initiated devotees, very possible. The way the organization or the GBC currently wants to see this organization in the future is they still want to have 40 GBC members. Why? Because the GBC members are required to come together in one place, Srila Prabhupada said, at least once in a year during Gaurapurnima, come together and discuss. Right? So for various reasons, and one of them being practical reasons, they expect there should be maximum 40 GBCs. Right? Now, some of you will say, oh, that doesn't seem right, it's too less. How will the whole world work? It is possible. If you organize intelligently, there are many large institutions, corporations who operate with the board being just 10-15 people, 20 people. They're able to operate, and they're able to operate organizations which are interacting with millions and millions of people and customers and clients. So intelligently organized can be done. The ground reality today To realize this vision for ISKCON is very, very harsh. It's the GBC members have to work very, very hard to realize this vision. In fact, it's quite a tough situation if you're a GBC member. Just imagine how difficult it must be when for 8 days, 10 days at a stretch, every day for 8 hours, you have to sit and discuss topics from east to west, north to south, all kinds of philosophical topics, all kinds of organizational topics. It gets quite intense, quite intense. And this GBC body requires support. It requires support from the members of ISKCON. It requires support in terms of various skill sets that are needed. Currently, and you must have heard it in another seminar, currently the full-time devotees who are staff of the GBC is just 2. Just 2. There is only 2 full-time staff serving the GBC body. Husband and wife as secretaries. Very glorious service they are performing. Yes, yes. As the secretary, that's it. And then there are some wonderful devotees who help host the meetings. When the meetings happen, many devotees come in. Some devotees come in from Chopati, from Pune. They come to serve and host. But that's only during the meetings. And after that, it goes back to the situation where the 2 devotees are assisting. Now, the duties that we have, the current organization, I like to share with you. There is the ISKCON GBC body. In the ISKCON GBC body, there are currently 37 GBC zonal secretaries. So these are very senior Vaishnavas, like His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. They are all GBC members. So like this, we have 37 very senior devotees who are GBC members, and they are all individually known as GBC zonal secretaries. Why? Because they help perform duties in their respective zones. Are you familiar with the concept of zones? Okay. It's like this. Delhi, within India, Delhi and northern part of India, let's say, is one zone. Within India, southern part of India is another zone. Mayapur and East India falls under another zone. Right? And the GBC zonal secretary have responsibility to oversee and supervise a particular zone. France falls in one zone. United Kingdom falls in another zone, and the Baltic countries falls in another zone. And there are GBC members assigned to oversee that, like that. So they are individual members. The way the GBC body takes decision is collective decision. Srila Prabhupada said that this GBC body will be the final authority, the ultimate authority. They will discuss and find out how to keep the movement together, how to take it forward. So collectively, whatever they decide, everybody accepts. Individually, they have to perform certain roles. And I described about zonal roles. Most of us are familiar at this level, the temple president level. We know our temple president. But typically, many temples work under a national council or a, in India you have the Western India Divisional Council, Eastern India, North India, South India Divisional Council, where the temple presidents come together and they decide. And then there is also national councils in several countries. Now, how will these 40 in the future GBC zonal secretaries oversee the 170 zones or 170 countries? Huge. Yeah, it's a huge mission. How will that happen? So for that, a position is established. Yes, Prabhu. Sorry? No. All 37 of them are zonal secretaries. Yes. Yes. For different parts of the world. In the future, total will be 40 zonal secretaries. Yes, 40. Now, very soon. Right? Now, each zonal secretary, in order to cover a larger area, to be effective in their supervision, will be supported by a position which is known as zonal supervisors. Now, these zonal supervisors are devotees who are going to assist So there will be, let's say, senior devotees, again in the movement, not, I wouldn't say senior, but experienced devotees, temple presidents who have performed their duty for several years. And then the GBC zonal secretary, GBC member feels, yes, I have confidence in this person to be able to perform a overall function in assisting me. So such a person then goes to the GBC College for Leadership. They get trained in the functions of zonal supervisor, and then if the GBC member wants, then they get appointed as a zonal supervisor. So one GBC zonal secretary can have many zonal supervisors to assist them. Now, let's say India, right? India alone has 225 centers today. Fairly wide, such depth and so many temples and centers. So many zonal supervisors are needed here to assist our GBC zonal secretaries like that. So I've described to you the zonal secretaries, or the service on the zonal side. Yes. Now similarly, besides the zonal services, there are also services that the GBC body must perform worldwide, right? Around the world. These services are undertaken through committees, ministers, and global duty officers like that. Now, can you share with me some thoughts of what kind of services do you think could be there which have to be performed around the world? They're not specifically, everything that is performed around the world means will also happen in a temple, but something that the GBC needs to keep together or share around the world. Any thoughts? Yes.
IDC courses, devotee care courses.
Thank you. Training for devotees in devotee care, in what's a good disciple, when to take initiation. That's a good example. Training is something that the GBC must contemplate, think about, organize, approve, and encourage devotees to undertake. Something else?
Education is one, and maybe finance, accounting, and all. It may be one, yeah.
Thank you. Very good examples. Besides educational needs, finance, accounting, also something else, Prabhu?
Japa. Very important things, and no minister of Japa, no, I don't know, GDO of Japa, but it is everyday needs.
So somebody to also guide and help devotees in enhancing their spiritual life, right? So there must be something associated with that. So like this, we can see actually that there are many functions that need to be performed. Currently, we have ministers. There are committees. For example, there's a committee which takes care of organization development. So I happen to be part of that. What we see happening here in the form of the ILS, the SGGS, the Sadhu, Guru, GBC Sanga that happens every alternate year, these are all initiatives of the strategic development or the organizational development team, so that we can bring leaders together, discuss with leaders, and grow this organization. Prabhu, you wanted to add something?
The relationship between many centers, good relationships between many centers, that is one part also.
To develop and increase good relationship between centers, temple presidents, zonal supervisors, so on and so forth, making sure that people are working together. These are important aspects. There are other important aspects. What about philosophical discussions? Some theological discussions that need to happen. They also need to be discussed at the top body. What should be our view? In a changing world, so many changes are coming, so many challenges are coming. How should, as a society, we react? How should we adapt to such changes? So these are several important, very important functions, global functions that need to be performed. Now, within the framework of global functions, there are some specific things, and Arjun Prabhu here shared a few. He said finance, standards, accounting, devotee care. We need some devotees to take these projects at the global level and develop the system, develop the training, develop the support that is needed in order to fulfill this. Now, with this in mind, like I shared with you, the zonal supervisor position was created around 2014 and 15 onwards, zonal supervisors being appointed. I currently also do service as a zonal supervisor for 2 countries, Kuwait and Iran. Similarly, in 2016, the GBC body established a service called Global Duty Officers. And from 2016 onwards, I performed the service as a director for the Global Duty Officers. Who are the Global Duty Officers? They are once again very senior devotees. Example, Gauranga Prabhu from Mumbai, Devaki Nandan Prabhu from again Juhu, Devaki Nandan Prabhu who you heard speak today from Singapore, so on and so forth. Govardhan Prabhu from South Africa, Mathuresh Prabhu from South America. From across the world, some of the leaders, they have been requested to perform the role of a GDO, Global Duty Officer. But what does it really mean? When they come on board to be a Global Duty Officer, it is a 1-year project, 1-year term, and it can be renewed for more years. For the first time in the history of ISKCON, we created a position which has accountability. Formally, I mean, of course, most devotees are accountable. They are, even if there are implicit agreements, they are performing. But explicitly we created. We said, so when I was designing the system along with the colleagues at the Organization Development Committee, we said it's very important that when we appoint somebody, at the time they share exactly what they're going to do in the next 1 year. And at the end of the 1 year, in between the 1 year, we are going to regularly talk to them and take reports and find out how they're progressing. And at the end of 1 year, we are going to give them also feedback. And if they are progressing well, we'll request them, please, you must continue, help in this project or other project. It helps us evaluate how devotees, senior devotees are able to operate in terms of specific deliverables. In addition, when such devotees take global service, it gives them a perspective across geographies. So with that notion, this service was performed. And these positions that have been created, zonal supervisor and global duty officers, they will help the GBC body to perform the 2 roles that they have. Their zonal roles as zonal secretaries and the body altogether to oversee the functioning of ISKCON around the globe. We got some examples here from you. Yes.
I have a question on that chart. There's also a body called IB, ISKCON Bureau. So where does it stand, in that hierarchy?
So the question is that where is ISKCON Bureau? So ISKCON Bureau is a national body of India, and some of you who are not from India, within India, ISKCON is legally organized under the Bureau. All of our temples come under the Bureau. It's a very good structure which allows ISKCON to ensure that our properties, our assets are properly maintained within ISKCON and we don't have a risk. Now, in that case, the Bureau directly has many zonal GBC members part of the Bureau. So the Bureau chairman is His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who's one of the senior-most GBC members as well. Within the Bureau membership, there are several GBC members who are part of the Bureau functioning and Bureau membership. In that case, the zonal supervisors will work under the Bureau. They will have work directly under the zonal secretaries, but they will also be under the framework of the Bureau. But they'll be reporting to the GBC zonal secretaries because that's who they're supposed to assist. Does that answer your question? Thank you. In different countries, the arrangement may be slightly different. Some countries, they have a national council and the zonal supervisors work there, so on and so forth. The system is developing. Now, previously, I asked you to share with me few ideas. Now, I ask you again, given the background that I've shared with you, I want you to think a little bit more. What other services are needed at a global scale or at our headquarters of ISKCON to serve the GBC body or to serve ISKCON? Any other thoughts? Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Siddhanta Das. Siddhanta Das. Yeah, sure. If you go to your previous slide and from what you've just discussed, I somehow get the feeling that the GBC is overburdened. Your sannyasis are overburdened. They can't perform the function of spiritual enlightenment. So my view is that these sannyasis should actually be out there preaching to make more devotees, that your GBC be reduced to managerial persons that can support the environment. Now this support ISKCON in its totality. It reminds me of the way the Indian government works. You got people that are sitting with 60 plus, and this is how the GBC is sitting at the moment. And not everyone in the GBC, like you said, that they have the financial acumen or whatever it may be. They are dependent on their national councils, and so forth. And whether it's correct or not, we'll take it for face value. So I think if they can begin to start focusing spiritually, we can make more devotees. ISKCON's got a lot of talent. We need to churn into that environment and pull out those devotees that can support. So that is, I have a different view to that. And I think we need to start thinking, otherwise we're going to have a severe crack in ISKCON. And that severe crack in ISKCON is that you got a generation, past generation, and you've got the future that's coming up, and you've got a huge gap in between. And how do you bridge that gap? So it's not the number of 40 GBC members sitting, it's the ability to make effective decision making. And that's important. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Siddhanta Prabhu. Very valuable thoughts. I wish we were together 2 years back. 2 years back, I presented a seminar which focused on this, that we really need to start thinking very, very deeply of how we define devotional service. That the notion of performing deity worship, the notion of distributing books, the notion of leading kirtan, the notion of giving a Bhagavatam class are valid even today. Yet, given how our demographics have changed significantly, I had a picture in that seminar where it showed a picture in the 1960s, almost like the sun, saffron effulgent. And then I showed a picture recently which has a variety of people, a small child, a mother, a wife and husband, everybody in our congregation. And at that time I was saying, you have so much talent out there. You have an accountant, you have a marketing expert, you have every expertise that you want to tap is available. We have to learn how to make them engage. In fact, I recall at that time I had 4 pictures of the same boy who comes in happy, and by the 4th stage he's completely confused. A lot of devotees, they feel that they're underutilized. They feel that there is an ISKCON that they live when they come to the temple, and then there's something else. There is another life outside. It shouldn't be like that. Actually, whatever talents we have, we must be able to engage it. And it depends upon the leadership and their ability to open up this and say, we want to engage. Thank you so much. Very, very important point. And please do not burden your thought process with what you see today as the GBC. These are wonderful, wonderful sages and saints and our respects. They actually carried the burden on their shoulders and head from a lot of troubles that ISKCON went through. And we are grateful to them. Yet, this generation that we're talking about, along with their blessings, has to see how are we going to change this. When I was studying Srila Prabhupada's letters and the history of ISKCON, believe it or not, at the time when Srila Prabhupada established the GBC, at that time they were all householders. They were all householders, and he had a clear distinction. Sannyasis, you go out and preach, much like you're saying. And the householders, you manage. Obviously, after that, there were not too many, but some of the householders decided to take sannyas. And they were playing very important roles. So, the dynamics changed a little bit. But this managerial aspect and spreading the movement aspect needs to be differentiated, but we cannot cut it dry. We can't cut it in between. It's not that our managerial leaders are not preachers or they're not spiritually well-versed. In fact, they should be the best spiritually well-versed. They should be great managers. And. That's what makes a GBC, right? Now, I'll take the next part of this, which is, if we really want this organization to be strong, and this is just a map of what I did, with this little understanding that I have, inspiration that I have. I said, what all do we need in ISKCON at a global scale under that management umbrella for ISKCON to be successful? And I said, even if I don't bring too much management mumbo jumbo, just simple things, you'll see something which is commonsensical, essential, and some of it which is already happening. Let's see at the top. We need, and when you feel that I've written something that is not necessary, please raise your hand. We need finance. We need strategic support. We need ways to do outreach. We need devotee care. We need legal risk and compliance. We require information technology. Can you imagine an international institution in today's time and world which does not have a IT department? Can you? You're all shaking your head. Do you know whether ISKCON has one? The answer is no. Standards. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Yes, we must. But are we all converging on something? How do we come up with standards so that the movement doesn't go haywire? We should be able to offer support, administration support to devotees and temples and centers. What about our branding? What about our marketing? What about our communication that goes out outside and within this institution? How often do we talk to each other? How often do we know what's happening in South Africa, what's happening in Kuwait, what's happening in Mumbai, what's happening in the Baltics, or what's happening in Mayapur? Do you have one journal that helps you understand that? Can you get one piece of glass which helps you see, oh wow, ISKCON is growing? Or another, oh no, it's bad, I need to do something. You never. Very scattered. Very scattered. There is no harm in being scattered or being all around. But as long as we have clarity on where we are going, we're not talking about centralization, because that just gives electric shocks to devotee. Centralization, no, we don't want that. We're not talking about centralization. If you were to, and I'm going to share these slides with you if you like, but please look at any of this. I'll tell you something. Let's take one, devotee care. Do we have a health care system for our devotees? Most temples don't. When we talk devotee care in general, do we have a health care offer for our devotees, full-time or otherwise? What about education? What about community development, counseling, addressing complaints? What about helping the householders? Just between the bucket of devotee care, there is immense amount of service to be performed. Now, why? Why do we want to do this? Organization for organization's sake? Organization for bureaucracy? Organization for centralization? No. That is not our intention. This notion is deeply embedded in the notion of service. How can we bring together intelligent men and women who can serve the world of ISKCON by allowing the GBC body to focus their energy on developing ISKCON? How can we free them up or complement them in establishing credibility within this institution? GBC means yes. A lot of times if you travel some location, you ask them, who's your GBC? They say, what is GBC? We want an institution where we can offer support. We want an institution which is structured when that if one or two people get inspired by Srila Prabhupada's books, they get together in their house and decide to start reading Prabhupada's books, we should be able to support them from the top to make them from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 16,000, from a small individual effort to a small center to a temple to a many temples in the city. Now, is it practical for individuals to do this without support? My answer is no. Ask any temple president or ask any person who's tried to do this, and they feel like they've lived 9 lives already. How much you go through this. But if we were to have a support structure where we are not reinventing the wheel, we have the ability. Okay, Prabhu, you're establishing a temple. I'll give you a design. You have a small plot, I have a template. You have a medium-sized plot, I have a template. If you have a large plot, I have a template at the GBC body of the design of the temple. You don't have to go and pay an architect anymore, Prabhu. You can improvise, you can change inside, but you can save money, time and energy. Wouldn't that be nice? That's what we're looking for. Okay, Prabhu, now you've grown, you've started collecting money, and the government is knocking on your door. Hey, listen, are you organized as a charitable organization? I don't even know what kind of different organizations are there in my country. Don't worry, Prabhu. We will study this for you. Our legal department will study this for you and recommend to you what you can do best to protect ISKCON's assets. And then you move forward and you start collecting money. How to ensure that what comes within ISKCON is used for ISKCON. A financial accounting system. Why does every temple have to pay for a separate financial accounting system? Why can't we have an enterprise-wide license? These are basic things, but these will go long term. They'll go a long way in ensuring that ISKCON remains together. You know, each one of you would have had an experience. The only people that you have closest relationships with are people that you serve together with. Because when you're serving together, you rub off your sharp edges. And this is the notion. If we work together, if we support each other, that's when devotees will start having an appreciation for the GBC body and the leadership. Otherwise, walk out of this tent or go in the corners and you just hear people complaining. So we have to change that. We need to reallocate our intellectual capital, much like Siddhanta Prabhu was mentioning. We really need to reallocate. Every single person who walks into the door of our center or temple, we have to ask him, Prabhu, what do you do? What are you active in? What are you doing outside world? What did Srila Prabhupada do? He did the same thing. Somebody had a little carpentry techniques. He got them to carve out the whole Jagannath deities, right? Somebody had some interest in reading a book. Prabhupada said, okay, you start the BBT. Here we are at a juncture in the history of this institution where we have much talent available for us. We need to reallocate. Every person who walks into our temple with certain skill set must feel when they're engaging it in Krishna's service that this is devotional service. If we're able to do that, then all of these functions that we need to fulfill right at the top, human capital management, finance, strategic support, all of this will start getting filled. The GDO project, the Global Duty Officers project, or the projects that I try to pursue devotees for helps fulfill that. What you see in green we've started some efforts in that direction. So there are now global duty officers focusing on that area, and we want more. How do we do it? Very simple. You talk to devotees, you share there's a need to perform a lot of service, identify what their talents are, and there is such a gap of so much service to be performed, you immediately automatically will find, hello, you can, Prabhu, do this for us. You make sure that your expectations are right, balanced, realistic, and then you support them through that process. So that's the GDO model. We've been successful at least in several areas. In the legal area, you heard about it a little bit today. If you're interested to know what we're doing in the educational area, I also serve as the director for the Ministry of Education of ISKCON. I can share with you a live case study of how we are trying to transform that ministry. That seminar is today at 4:45. And like this, small steps. From an outside point of view, you'll probably say, hey, listen, this is no big deal. But it's happening for the first time. And it takes a lot of effort to change that attitude, I get surprised that same devotees or same people who work very hard outside, 12 hours, 14 hours to earn money, when they walk in to the temple premise, they see this as a heaven for relaxation. This is not what our founder Acharya expected. He expected us to really work very hard. I come across devotees of three attitudes. One is when you present them a problem, they say, it's not my problem. I don't care. That's the first category. The second category that I come across is they care too much to the extent that they start complaining to everybody and rumor mongering. This is a problem? Yes. Actually, you know what, Prabhu? That is also a problem. Yeah, I know that. No, Prabhu, you don't know. Actually, if you come with me, I'll show you there's more problem and more problem. That's the second attitude. And the third attitude is, if there's a problem, do we want to be the solution? What can we do individually in our capacity to find a solution? And what we are trying to do in the Global Duties Office, let's try to find solution. Life is always determined by the choices we make. Srila Prabhupada said, would anybody like to read this beautiful quote from Srila Prabhupada? Yes.
Everyone has got some propensity. The art of preaching is to engage that propensity in the service of Krishna. Whatever we have got, our mind, our intelligence, our possessions, our time, our energies, let them all be used in Krishna's service. So by training people in this way, this will be the success of your preaching work.
Everything. Manasa deho geho jo kichu mor arpila tua pade nanda kishore. So if you feel inspired in any of these areas individually, or you have community or congregation members who you think are talented and can help, I humbly request you to please consider writing to me or talking to me so that we can help establish good systems, good support within this society of ISKCON. With that, and with 1 minute remaining, I pause here. If you have any comments or questions, I'll take them.
I have seen many times, like in our movement, there are so many intelligent people, so many capable devotees are there, but they are not the resources of those humans, the mental talent, the physical and the spiritual, all are not properly get utilized for our community. That is the basic problem I saw. I think human resource management, the resources, one need to identify and find out what are the real resources this person, what kind of ability this person, this devotee have, and where he can be utilized properly. That is lacking. I saw that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Valid observation. That's what we're trying to do with the service of Director for Global Duties, so that we can identify. Thank you for your participation. I am going to close the seminar on time, but I am available here to take any further personal questions that you may have. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare